All right, good afternoon again, everybody. Thank you for attending today's August meeting of the APHL Rhapsody user group. We've got a lot to cover today. So let's see, going into and we are recording this meeting. We can make the recording available afterwards. So first, we're going to start with just some next up, let you guys know what we're thinking about for some future user group meetings. We are always open to ideas about topics that you think would be of value to discuss on these calls. We want these meetings to be useful and cover items that you guys really want to talk about. Then we'll briefly open it up for a jurisdiction round robin. I'd love to hear what you guys are working on, projects that you want to share with the group, questions that you have, any challenges that you've encountered where you'd like to ask your peers for advice, any and all of that. And then we've got couple of spotlights today. We've got Debbie Frederick and Sean Tan from Rhapsody. We are basically revisiting a conversation that we started back in April on one of our other user group calls about different options for Rhapsody installations and deployment. So Debbie's going to be talking about that, and then Sean's going to be giving an update on some upcoming Rhapsody releases. And then hopefully we'll have a little bit of time to get more into a com points discussion and some best practices for using those. I know that's ambitious. We'll see how much we get through. Um, so, ooh. So let's start actually with some future user group topics. We'd love to have a meeting dedicated to just troubleshooting and how you guys kind of approach that. I'd love to have a volunteer walk us through a mystery that you've had to solve. If you want to reach out to me, love to hear more about it and get you set up for talking to this group on a future user group meeting. And also, if you just want to share any kind of issues or pet peeves, we're going to try to have a list of some of the most common issues that folks have had to troubleshoot and maybe get some thoughts from our APHL TA team about how best to address those. And then we had a topic back in June that explained some of the interesting work that's being done with Rhapsody for exchanging fire packages, and we're hoping to revisit that again, maybe looking at death on fire in an upcoming meeting. So more on that hopefully to come soon. Future topics, things that we've heard a lot about is issues with storage, especially for ECR files, integrating Rhapsody with all of your different systems, whether it's databases, cloud environments, and beyond. And then also maybe thinking about maybe doing a session on AI and Rhapsody. So if you've got ideas, if you've got thoughts about what we can cover in these meetings, please let us know. All right, moving backwards a little bit. Love to hear about what you guys are working on. We've got about 60 some odd people on right now. What kind of data integration projects are you working on? What has been the most interesting Rhapsody work that you're doing? What's been keeping you guys busy? Anybody would share their work?
Well, just to get the ball rolling, I'll stop. It's Rusty from Nashville. We're kind of stymied at the moment. We've got a weird problem with our lab system that seems to be misinterpreting the messages that we've turned over to Rhapsody, but we're kind of dead in the water until we can get that squared away. Without going into too much detail.
Okay, so you've got an issue that Rhapsody is sending the messages to the LIM system, and the LIM system is rejecting them.
No, it's actually within Rhapsody itself. It seems like, and I've told that this uses two completely different code sets, so it's not possible, but it seems like the message is creating an incorrect tree view, and then as the message goes down the route, it's being parsed based on the tree view and not the actual message itself, which is messing up the rest
Oh.
of the. So it's a real weird problem. Like I said, we turned it over to Rhapsody support, and they're working on it. I think they were getting ready to send it to their dev development. So maybe you'll be looking at it, Sean. In any event, that's kind of a weirdness to say. I don't know if anybody else has seen anything like that or not, but it's been, and it may be a combination of things. It may be our own system has gotten uh, out of whack somehow, and a combination with the type of message files we're sending through, but it's definitely a perplexing issue.
Maybe this happened like, not the case for you. When I had like two definitions in the route, it
Right?
couldn't figure out which one to validate, though we kind of define like, inbound. Initially, I had that kind of issue before, parsing
Okay.
not correctly. I would verify that by mistake if there are two definitions
Well,
loaded.
I know that there are two definitions in the route. One of them is for the XML.
Yeah, then it'll happen.
Okay.
But some
Even if
I would
it's,
verify
well,
that.
let me finish the question.
Uh-huh.
Even if one of them is XML and the other one happens to be the HL7, the what is it, S3,
It is,
uh,
yeah.
even with two completely different kind of definitions?
I don't know because I need to go back and check where it was. I had that issue when it was not able to figure out. We opened a ticket also at that time. I don't know the resolution. It's been a while though. But I would verify it and see just to troubleshoot, separate out them into two separate routes with each separate definition and try if it works or not.
Yes,
Oh,
that really works. This is Sarah from Virginia. So keeping them separate routes is really helpful if you are getting two different message types instead of, especially when you're validating them. Just keep them in a two separate route. That really
now,
helps.
when you say two different message types, you mean like two different message formats. For instance, we're
Formats.
translating, right.
Yeah.
We're translating from XML to HL7 and back. So we
Yeah.
don't, you're saying don't include both of those kind of definitions within the route.
Correct. Just separate them, and then based on the type that's coming in, you just route them to a different route, and then where you can just do a validation, convert and validate.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I'm glad I said something. Thanks.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Rusty. Let us know. Let us
Uh,
know if that works.
I will, because I've been losing hair because I've been pulling it out trying to figure it out.
Well, we're here
and
for you.
Rusty,
Yeah.
it's Sean here. I've just found your ticket, so I'll have a look through that as well.
Okay, that'd be great. And it's weird because so far they haven't been able to recreate it with on the Rhapsody side. That's why I
Hmm.
was kind of wondering if it's something to do with our system itself. Anyway, all right. Thanks a lot, Sean.
Okay. Yep. No worries.
All right, cool. Anybody else, did that prompt anyone else to think of issues they want to raise? All right. There'll be time later, perhaps. All right, so I'm going to hand it off first to Debbie to talk about, again, some deployment options for Rhapsody. And then she will in turn pass it off to Sean to give you some updates on what Rhapsody has planned in the development pipeline. So, Debbie, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and let you take over.
All right, let's see if it works. Okay. I'm not sharing it, so hang on. I just wanted to say hi, everybody. I know we cannot we get everybody on video, but I like for you to see my face, run into me in some place. Be sure and say hi. So give me a second and let me get everything shared. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Magic screen, right? Screen one. Share. I use Teams, so this is always throws me off. So, all right. Can everyone see my big blue screen?
I don't know about everyone, but I can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Rusty, if it's a Debbie and Rusty show, that's okay too. So
That's a scary thought, Debbie. That's a scary thought.
you have no idea, Rusty. Anyway, thanks for having us, everybody. Again, I'm Debbie Frederick. I'm one of the account executives here at Rhapsody. I support APHL. Many of you probably work with some of my counterparts because, from a public health perspective in general, we have multiple account managers that work with those individual accounts. So I'm always here for you all, or if you need help with your account executive, getting to them, knowing who they are, anything like that, feel free to always use me as a resource. So let's move forward. All right, we wanted to talk about some deployment options, which is very timing for us because we've got expanded that service offering. So I'm going to quickly walk through these with you. It's just a one pager. The goal is not to get into really a technical conversation. The goal here is to get you introduced to them, give you the highlights really about how we share responsibility between the Rhapsody team and you as the customer. And then we can do some follow up again with me directly or through your account executive after this if you have any interest in changes, future planning, or just general Q&A and so forth. So let's start here on this side. So we're talking about your infrastructure, and this is probably what the majority of you all have. It is your own integration, your own infrastructure, and we're available for support. And that meaning we have our professional services team, we have our support team, et cetera, to help you with your integration engine and getting the best usage out of it. So that again, that would be a typical what we would consider on-prem deployment. Second would be SaaS deployment. So this is Rhapsody Cloud. We are mainly AWS right now. We have started to work with Azure as well with some of our solutions due to customer demand. So you'll see that coming in the future as well as we expand our cloud platform. And this is where we're managing the infrastructure. So you'll see if you picked up on the color coding here, we're managing this from a location, infrastructure, integrations. We're here to help. So it's the same as you're on-prem, our professional services team, et cetera. And then application monitoring is shared by both. So this would be your typical, cloud deployment, SaaS deployment, vendor hosted deployment, as you all might call, other terminology that you all might hear. And our goal is to meet our customers where they are. So this is why we have expanded over time and continue to expand in those options, be it a different version or be it a different cloud hosting platform such AWS or Azure. So we are always listening to our customers and encourage everyone to continue to share with us along the way. So let's move on to the third one, and this is Envoy Edge. So this is our newest deployment. This is a lot like a SaaS model, except we are really deploying on your cloud or even your customer's cloud. And then we're managing your integrations. So again, it's all about the customer here and their deployment option. And infrastructure is being managed by the customer, and we're helping, just support that from afar. But we are doing the integrations. So if you want to be able to connect to your third parties and we can help you connect there easily, then that is where we can kind of step in and manage that model. Hang on, let me move a box here. So I have to cheat on this one because it is brand new. So again, we're building and managing the integrations. The nodes are running in the customer's cloud, data center, or customer site. So it can be any of those versions. And we do this via a secure zero trust access. And this helps with faster onboarding across, hundreds of sites that many of our customers do, support every day. And this really helps reduce timelines and repeatable deployment architecture. When we look at an infrastructure like yours, this is very popular from an ambulatory perspective, a lab perspective. You just think about, all of those that are right in the middle of the entire ecosystem. And onboarding customers is really the service, is what they're trying to accomplish to be able to get basically business up and running faster, right? So this is really becoming a big hit right here, and we call it our Envoy Edge. So then we have our Envoy iPaaS. So iPaaS is Rhapsody Cloud, Rhapsody Managing Integrations, and Infrastructure for You. So this is where it's kind of like having the SaaS model, but with the management of the integrations on our side. So you as the customer are essentially our liaison, and helping us get introduced to your third parties, helping give us business intelligence. You're helping us, but we're really doing the heavy lift. And this is another great opportunity when it comes to a lot of large projects and so forth. So when there's a big year with a lot of projects, and you just need to kind of reevaluate how you can onboard faster, how you can just move to the speed of business today. So I'm gonna pause there for a second and maybe just a couple of, we'll say quick Q&A, but would encourage you either to drop them in the chat and I can answer them a little, later on, or you can email me directly, but just any quick Q&A.
Debbie, I see a question from Kentucky in the chat. Will the licensing cost vary if comm points are same across these various deployments? I would assume it varies, but wanted to check. Also, would it be possible to give a cost breakdown at a high level, how much each of these deployment options would be?
Okay, I might need to read that one. If it's kind of, will the licensing costs vary if comm points are the same across? Um, yes, they do vary because you kind of get more for your money in the different options and so forth. So you have to think of it like that. And it depends. In our Envoy model, I'm going to assume Envoy Edge. I have personally not priced this one out yet. Again, it's kind of new, so I don't know all the details. But like with the Envoy models, what you're getting with what we consider standard or simple integrations is you will pay a licensing cost, and it will include the building cost as well, if that makes sense. If it's, and we label them as simple, there'll be a definition around that. If they got into complex integrations like web services, et cetera, then we may have a set price for that, or we may just have a custom price for that, depending on what it entails. So simple, ADTs, ORUs, ORMs, again, with, not 10 or 15 action lists, things like that. So they do vary because they consist of different components based on the models and so forth. And then let's see, I'm sorry, the second part. Would it be possible to give a cost breakdown at a high level and how each of the deployment options would be? Um, that would take some, I mean, that would take some work. So I don't know that it's easy to do, if you will, but I think it's definitely something to be able to talk about with your account manager. And if that happens to be me, that's great. And it might be if it's Kentucky. But we're happy to talk to you about that. I don't know how easy it is. So it would require a couple of questions and so forth. But we're always happy to discuss it. Great question, though. So it's very exciting to have these options, and also know a lot of times you may be here one day, you may start here. You could be in a hybrid, or a lot of people start here and then they end up moving to the Envoy model because they need more help, and then, et cetera. So just like you move from on-prem to SaaS, and so you can kind of hop around, based on what's going on or over the years and time. We're here to support you and meet you where you are. Okay, the next page, if it'll click, it's just my information if you didn't have it already from here, but you can snip that, grab that real quick if you need to reach out directly to me, or if you need help contacting your account executive to talk about any of these options further. I'm gonna pause real quick and I'll drop them in the chat and stuff later too. So just so happens, if you want to learn a little bit more about our Envoy model, Fairfax County Health is conducting a webinar with us, a live webinar with us. It's actually at the end of the month and August the 26th. And these will be our speakers. Noel, he's a great partner of ours, Jim, and Elida. they have moved to the Envoy model, have a lot of great things to share about it. We'd love for you to attend. I've got the registration link here next, but I'll also drop it in the chat for easy reference. Even if you can't attend, you can sign up and then you'll get a link of the recording after the fact, and then you can listen to it on your own time and so forth. We usually end up publishing them later, but it makes it a lot easier if you do registration and can get the recording later, because sometimes we may publish only pieces and parts of it, etc. So I would encourage you to do that. And here are some of the highlights about how they did, transforming their workloads. And again, they're on the Envoy model, so that means we're doing the heavy lifting for the infrastructure, for the integrations, for the monitoring, etc. So it's a great story. Would love to have everyone. And let's see, there's the link. Melanie, I don't know if there'll be a hot link when you share it, but again, I'll post it in the chat so everybody can pull it down, and then you can register if you want. So, and that is all I got. Any other last minute questions?
Debbie, I'm just curious about, all of those different options that you shared. Could you give a sense of how many public health organizations have opted for which ones at this point? Do you have a sense of that?
I don't have a sense of that, Melanie, but I can probably find out. I know we have, I just know based on who I know, so that's not everyone. We've got a handful, probably literally a handful on the Envoy model. Cloud model, I'm not, just straight up cloud model, SaaS model. I'm not 100% sure. So I might be able to run a list and find that out. But I'm assuming the majority is going to be here, handful here. Of course, this is new, so no one's on this yet in public health that I'm aware of. And then the SaaS model, I'm probably going to guess is more like a handful as well. But I'll see if I can get that report, Melanie, and share it with everybody. And
Thanks. And I've got one more question for you. So
Sure.
if somebody wanted to deploy on a Rhapsody cloud, do you have a sense of how long that implementation would take?
So I'll answer it this way. Regarding standing up the instance, that is really just a couple of days for us. And that's easy for us to do. The connectivity can take a couple of days or several weeks, because we're so dependent on your team, and it's in the connectivity model, meaning a VPN. Do we do direct connect? Are you on your cloud, or are you on a true data center? All those things matter. So connectivity, again, it just varies. And then from let's say a migration perspective, relative to, you have Rhapsody on-prem and then Rhapsody moving to the cloud, that is relatively simple, because you can, I guess, snapshot your current your current engine to the cloud, just retest, and you're kind of ready to go. So you don't have to rebuild it. You just have to retest everything. And then depending on the number of interfaces you have and how many external IPs, your IPs and stuff they're connected to, then that can vary on time. So there's no definitive answer to be able to say, because there's a lot of variables entailed.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do others
That's
have questions
a great question
about any of this? Another question in the chat, Debbie, do you have access to directories in the cloud?
Sean, can you answer that question? Do you know that answer?
Can it perhaps reach local directories? Yeah, I think it can, because you can and I haven't done this myself, but I've oftentimes you'll have to whitelist what you need it to connect to, and if there's something local that you have, then you should be able to do that.
Yeah, I would I would agree with that. It's kind of threw me off. And is directories, I know a lot of people talk about database calls, or is that what we still the same about directories, or would that really be different? I think it's always the point is, yes, you connect to anything locally. You're going to want to understand if there's any latency that you would experience and how diminishing that is, if it is, and how impactful it would be. That's usually another common question that a lot of people get as well.
It's kind of the hybrid sort of
Yeah. So,
part of the
okay.
diagram in the bottom
Great
right
question.
corner.
Mhm.
And when you say directory in
Yep.
the
Great
cloud,
question.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
When you say
Oh, no,
directory
go
in the,
ahead.
do you mean like an S3 bucket or no? Or am I missing that? In other
James,
words,
that was your
something that
question.
actually a directory that actually resides in the cloud? No, that's not what you're asking. Never mind. Okay.
Oh, there is a follow-up on James in the chat, Sean. I can't answer that. It's too technical.
Yeah. It's you would have to be able to log into the server. Yeah, so if you can set that up, then you should be able to. I
I think
um
with the firewall rules, if we have, then those need to be applied and all that.
those need to be applied. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you just need to take care of the network side, and on our side we would just whitelist whatever needs to go
Yeah.
out, and maybe you'd expose it in a slightly different way.
Yeah. Sounds logical. I don't find we don't have too many challenges, from accessing your data and so forth. I've done a lot of deployments with CorePoint, our other engine, not necessarily with Rhapsody, but have the understanding that there's a lot of things that are consistent in regards to, um, you know, the connectivity, the options for connectivity, et cetera. So I'm kind of reflecting back on on a lot of the CorePoint implementations I've conducted. So great questions, though. Uh, There's one more question. And Melanie, let me know. We're at 30 minutes and I can maybe answer the chat if you want me to hand it over, or I can take this last question. Either way.
Let's take this last question.
Okay, sure. Okay. Let's see. Does integrations involve connections to third party or includes building the end-to-end processing route?
Yeah.
You mean if we're building the if Rhapsody is building the integrations?
Yes, if Rhapsody is building the integration, would it be just the connectivity between the third party to us, or is it gonna be involved in the detailed building of the processing route for the messages?
These are that's I've just taken a note of that question. I think you can go multiple ways on that, but again, I may not be the best person to talk to that. I feel like maybe if there's a lot of interest in this, we can get um
Yeah, we can do a
someone,
cloud,
yeah,
a cloud
maybe
session.
who's more involved in this. I
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so we could get like a member of our from our solutions consulting team who helps us with those pre-sales discovery and so forth. So it's not like a cloud ops person, but it is someone who understands the connectivity, et cetera. But we can get a resource if we have an interest in the cloud topic and be able to understand the dynamics there. So it would be a great follow-up, Melanie.
Yeah, but I've
Okay.
also just taken I think for James and Swati we can get back to you with slightly more
Yeah,
details on those questions.
agree.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agree.
that's a good question, Swati. I think, and maybe it's possible that Fairfax County would be able to share their experience with you on that webinar, or even separately, if you reach out to Noel, and they can give you a better sense of, exactly what kind of service
Yep, sorry. Saving that.
Rhapsody has been providing. But yeah, maybe that's something we could also follow up on in another call. You guys can give an update after talking to your salespeople.
Yep. All right, great.
All right. Any
Well,
last
wonderful.
questions?
Thanks
Oh, go
again.
ahead.
Nope, I was to say thanks again for my
All right.
stop
If
sharing.
there are more questions, just drop them in chat. Otherwise, Sean, do you want to give us an update on what's coming?
Yes, screen. All right, I will attempt to share my screen. It's like a big black thing on my side. Okay. Okay, that can everyone see again another big blue screen?
Yes.
Yep. All right. I will just see. I haven't really timed this, so might just fit in. So, uh, I'll give a release plan update, and then I'll do a bit of a deeper dive into Rhapsody 7.6, which is our next release, and then we can do questions after that. Although if there's questions in the chat, I'm happy to answer as we go along. Mel, you might have to, if there's any questions in the chat, could you shout those out?
Will do.
Cool. All right. So let me just move to the release plan. So this is what it looks like currently. So Rhapsody 7.6 is due mid-September. So that's just over a month away. And after that, Rhapsody 7.7 looking like Feb or March next year. And Rhapsody 8.0 is late 2026. So with 7.6 just around the corner, so we will do a deep dive into some of the main features here. All right, so first item, OAuth 2 support for SMTP. So just as a reminder, this is the problem here is that Microsoft Exchange Online is discontinuing the basic auth for SMTP support in March 2026. And that will mean that Rhapsody emails will stop working if you are using Exchange Online. So we in Rhapsody 7.6 will enhance the Rhapsody notifications and email client to support OAuth 2 for SMTP, which is the Microsoft recommendation. This will be addressed as part of 7.6, but we will also have patches for 6.10, 7.3, 7.4, and 7.5. Just as a bit of a favor to me, if you are affected by this, could you just put in the chat now which of the patches or which of these you'd go to if you are affected? I just want to get a feel of if any of these might not be as necessary. The patches, I mean. So if anyone is affected now, just please put them in the chat. All right, so with that, let me show you what the actual changes look like. So this first one here is the email client. So there are a number of new configuration properties. The first one is OAuth 2. Do you want to use OAuth 2? So that's a checkbox. And if you do check yes, or if you do check it, then you will get 4 more below it. So token URL, the client ID, client secret, and scope. So what are all of these things? They're probably not things that you've dealt with before. These will all be documented, but we will also have a supplementary knowledge base article on setting up OAuth 2 in Exchange Online, because this is not normally a Rhapsody activity. So normally, and you'd have to have a system administrator to set these up. So the system administrator would look at the Microsoft article. They can look at our knowledge base article. And once they activate all of this in Exchange Online, they can provide you with all of these details. So that is those are the changes on the email client. For the notifications, this is now in Management Console. So again, you'll be presented with the option to select OAuth 2 or just basic, and follow. If you do select OAuth 2, then you'll get again the same URL, the client ID, the client secret, and the scope. All right, so Mel, any questions so far?
No questions. A couple of people
all right.
did respond that they will be impacted.
Great. Okay. Yep. Well, not great, but yep. I'll have a look. Yep. After this. Okay. So I'll move on. So SFTP communication point enhancements. Rhapsody 7.6 has quite a variety of enhancements for this communication point. The first, TLS 1.3 for FTPS, So that is FTP over SSL. That's just simply actually most of the rest of the engine has got TLS 1.3, but because we use a different third-party library for the SFTP, that has so far just supported TLS 1.2. So it's finally getting TLS 1.3. Then we have new published properties. So these are message properties on messages going through or entering Rhapsody from an SFTP COM point. So there will be two new properties which will provide you with a bit more flexibility when configuring Rhapsody. So these are a file last modified time and a file creation time. So if you need to try to find these values on a route, which you haven't really been able to do before, you'll be able to get those details per message from the published property on the message. New input configuration property. That's right, new input mode configuration property. So now you can filter files to download based on their last modified time. This is similar to what the directory COM point can currently do. So just a bit more flexibility in how you retrieve the files when the SFTP COM point is in input mode. And finally, better AWS transfer family support. So AWS Transfer Family is a secure transfer service that lets you transfer files into and out of AWS storage services like Amazon S3. And to better support this, we will have support for two new HMAC algorithms, the ones that are listed on the screen. Okay, so those are the SFTP COM point enhancements. All right, while staying on the topic of SFTP, this is a slight deviation. This is something not in 7.6. But this is a problem that we have not yet solved, but we are planning to solve this before the end of the year. So what is happening? JP Morgan is discontinuing 3 of their CTR SSH cipher suites in the first quarter of 2026. Unfortunately, right now it just says first quarter Q1, so I can't really give a firm date on exactly when. So we'll just assume 1st of January. So if you are using SFTP COM points to connect to JP Morgan servers, then you will not be able to after the update. So Rhapsody, we will enhance the SFTP COM point. We will support, our aim is to support 2 new cipher suites, the AES 128 GCM from OpenSSH and also the AES 256 GCM cipher suite. So these will likely be just released only as a patch for 7.6, so probably 7.6.1. And this is expected in late 2025. Again, if you are impacted and maybe this is less obvious, just let me know on the chat. This is probably something that doesn't affect as many people, but we are putting it out here as an upcoming problem. Okay, so move on. So we also have an AMQP COM point enhancement. So we are enhancing it to support connectivity with Azure Event Hubs. So what is Azure Event Hubs? So I've taken a screenshot or just an image from a Microsoft architecture page. So this is not my diagram, but I've got the source for it at the bottom. Azure Event Hubs is an Azure native data streaming service. It is capable of streaming millions of events per second, and it's typically used for applications which require real-time event processing, telemetry, and analytics. Event producers, just looking at the diagram, event producers will send information in through protocols like HTTP and AMQP into Azure Event Hubs, which are then fed to consumers. So one example for this is that maybe you have heart sensors and heart devices which send data out, and so those are the event producers. the heart rate data will be taken into event hubs. And then perhaps there is maybe a heart rate alerting mechanism on the other side as a consumer or as a receiver. Yeah. Okay, so now just focusing on the part that matters to Rhapsody, as your event hubs uses partitions to hold the event data. And this is what actually allows it to do its parallel publishing and consumption. And really, it's what allows it to handle millions of events per second. The Rhapsody needs to connect with AMQP, and then it must state which partition it needs to connect to, and it uses a partition key for that. From the AMQP protocol, these partition keys must be passed in through what are known as AMQP message annotations. And this is what Rhapsody does not currently support. So just as a comparison, if anyone here is using Azure Service Bus with Rhapsody and wondering why we support partitions there, Azure Service Bus can actually take partition keys through other ways aside from message annotations, although message annotations is certainly, AMQP message annotations is one of the ways which Azure Service Bus can take in partition keys. But for Azure Event Hubs, it is only through AMQP message annotations. So now let's have a look on the Rhapsody side. So the enhancement inside Rhapsody, we have a new configuration property. So this is currently output mode only. So you enter a name value pair. Sorry. So you enter a name value pair, the name of the message annotation, and then its value. And we'll also allow dynamic support here, so you could specify message properties. So one example, the one on the screen, if you want to write to partition 1, the annotation name is for Azure Event Hub is always XOPT partition -key. And then the value, here I've just given a junk one, partition 1. So that's the new functionality coming in Rhapsody 7.6. There will also be an input mode version. It will be slightly different, but it will, instead, if there is a partition key specified, it would just go into a message property. But this is the main use case, because typically you would be using in a scenario like this, many of our customers will be pulling HL7 data. Well, I mean, HL7 data will be flowing through the engine, and then typically it will go out into some sort of dashboard application on the other side. That is what would be using the Azure Event Hub. It would be kind of similar to other message services or Kafka as well. So it's kind of a similar, I guess, technology, or the end problem that it is solving is similar to Kafka for in the typical healthcare scenario. All right, let me just double check the time. All right, so next up, dark mode for code editors. So full dark mode will come with Rhapsody 8. But in Rhapsody 7.6, we will support dark mode for code editors, like the JavaScript filter on the screen. And when I talk about this, I just have to give credit to Alec Foster from the University Hospitals Coventry in Warwickshire. So he has put in, well, he discovered that with the Monaco code editor, you can modify the properties file in the IDE. We weren't really intending to do it that way, but we had the properties file available. So he's posted on the forum. This was actually quite popular, so we have included it with 7.6. So you don't have to go now in 7.6. You don't have to go to modify the properties file in the IDE directory. There will be an option for this in the IDE options. Okay, and now for a couple of slides which I have just put in. So AI for Rhapsody. So AI, sorry, how might we use AI to help users build interfaces more efficiently? Some of the questions we have been looking at are what interface building tasks could AI assist with while keeping users in the driver's seat? How might AI suggestions help coach users on best practices and new techniques? And how might we solve or use AI to solve real user problems? At our Connect conference a couple of months ago now, actually, we had just finished a sorry, a 12-month pilot project, so a 12-week pilot project into exploring AI, and we demoed what we had found. And we've been progressing on that since. So this is just a continuation of a project that we've been looking at for a while now. And AI really is a new powerful tool that is that we are using quite heavily. Other people are using it, but other people are using quite heavily as well. But I also appreciate that a lot of people or organizations don't use AI or cannot use AI as well. So there's many different stances on AI right now. So it's a very interesting topic. But with all of that said, we have been looking at all of these problems. So come on to the next slide. So we have come up with Axon AI, a knowledge assistant. So this will be a general knowledge assistant that is coming with Rhapsody 7.6. So the intent of this is to allow you to answer healthcare standard, any questions on healthcare standards, product documentation, and maybe community articles as well. So let me just there's just a bit of noise coming through. Yeah. Okay. And just another a second screenshot as well. So we are imagining that there is quite a lot of just healthcare standard data that could be quite, you can go Google it separately and all that, but having it sort of available and summarized for you in an AI assistant could be quite handy. So you don't have to switch contexts. Also, another problem is just the product documentation. How can you more easily find things while also just remaining in your IDE? So we are imagining that an AI assistant in the IDE can help with that. And this is a screenshot that I took literally just for this meeting, about 10 minutes before this meeting started. So I just asked it, what is the difference between data types like ST, TX, ID, and CE? So the answer right now the chat box has got a bit of debugging on it right now because this is just internal facing at the moment. So there is a little bit of debugging information at the top, but after that it does start to contain, it does give an answer. And you will be able to ask product documentation questions as well. With this version in Rhapsody 7.6, there is no knowledge of your engine. This is purely just a web-based view of an online assistant. And the only thing that gets passed to it is your engine version, so Rhapsody 7.6. To use this, it will require an internet connection. It will require an active OneLogin account. And you will also have to have the correct access right enabled. And that is also the way for organizations where you cannot use AI, this is the way that you would keep it disabled. There's an access right for this. When this ships with Rhapsody 7.6, it will not be in a finished state. The chatbot itself, or the assistant itself, will still be in early access mode, but this will just allow you to have a look at what we're doing. Now, the view I have on the screen, this is the view after you activate the AI. So when you first log in into Rhapsody, you'll still have the filter toolbox on the right-hand side, but we do now have a little new icon. If you look towards the middle, there's a little star or sparkle AI icon, and there'll be also a button a menu item in the menu in the tool. The Rhapsody menu, which will allow you to activate the chat. All right, and that was the last slide. So questions.
So I'm looking at chat, Sean. I think a couple of
Yes.
jurisdictions are definitely in a kind of wait and see pattern with
Yes.
AI, that they're not allowed to
Yep.
use them yet. So this is something you would have to go
Yep.
into
That
and turn on, right?
right now, the this is an opt out, so
Opt out.
you can turn it off, but it is just an access right, so you can quite easily go in and turn it off.
Okay.
Um, and I think that's quite common. I think there's quite a lot of places where there's just you're not allowed to have AI there. We've talked to quite a number now, so we are very appreciative that um, this is quite. I'd say, yeah, there's a lot of organizations where there's the stance on AI is no AI at all, and others have just jumped off the deep end and gone even further than us. And then I think quite a lot are just roughly in the middle. I'm having trouble
And
bringing the
I'm looking
chat
further
up.
back here.
Sorry.
So will there be an outbound, I'm sorry, an inbound S3 COM point in a future update?
Yes, there was, and that's a good question. So when I last talked about this, we did have the inbound S3 as a feature of 7.6. We've pushed it out to 7.7. So while it is all working even now in 7.6, the code was working in 7.6. There were some aspects of it that made it less usable for most customers. So many customers who want inbound for S3 want it to also support KMS, the key management system, and that's also what the APHL S3 communication point
Mhm.
has. So if we had released it in 7.6 without that feature, you wouldn't actually, and you were trying to, for example, maybe replace the APHL one, you wouldn't even be able to do that. So we've pushed it out um, until there's a few more features available in it. We also want to look at adding proxy support as well. My 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 chat thing has partially frozen. So, well,
And then, I don't know, we're starting to run low on time, but is there a way to address um, archive cleanup by locker instead of archive cleanup today that clears all messages across all lockers?
yeah, that is still in the roadmap. That is still my I'm still hopeful that that is the main feature of Rhapsody 8.1. So it is a while away. The reason why it's 8.1, there are a lot of things that we need to do fast for Rhapsody 8.0. There's a lot of under the hood modernization that needs to take place. So that's the reason for our Rhapsody 8.0. And then the very first thing after 8.0 is out, I'm intending for the archive cleanup by Locker to be that very first thing that we do after that.
All
Yeah.
right,
So,
and then
but
there's another.
at the moment,
Okay.
oh, go on.
No, there's an
No, sorry,
open
go
question
on.
about
Mhm.
Azure DevOps and if anyone has used those tools for Rhapsody routes
Azure DevOps.
for pipelines for deploying and promoting code.
Yeah,
And
I
that's an
Oh,
mean,
right. Okay.
open question of the
Mm.
group.
yeah, just wondering, we're kind of planning to use Azure DevOps for other development related work that we are planning, but wanted to see if the Rhapsody routes can be, or anyone is doing that um, in any of the jurisdictions. or not? I mean, I understand the Rhapsody code is proprietary, but the routes, if now we could work on the routes, then probably it will be more, we can have a standard procedures for Rhapsody that will be included together with the other tools. Yeah.
Are you talking about like, for example, using it as a code repository and maybe storing the configuration there?
Yeah, and kind of, yeah, sort of developing the routes in the repository or linking it in the repository, sort of having the configuration set up there and then
Yeah,
just
the
pass
yeah
through the pipelines to different environments.
mm, config management using external repositories is something that is um it's been on the radar for quite a long time. Uh, and it still is on the radar. It's not coming so soon, but we do get enough questions about this that we are thinking very heavily on how and when to add this. I think some people right now might just save out uh, RLCs or perhaps some sort of backup file to a repository, but that's not really, that's kind of it's that's more to just to save
Hmm.
the config as a backup.
Ravi, do you think that it would be useful to have a future meeting devoted to how we promote code, like learning more from other jurisdictions about what their process is?
Yeah, so I'm happy to. We're also learning and
Hmm.
kind of trying to put things together on our side in ADO. So maybe in a couple of months, I will be able to provide more information about what we and ha will be or have done so far at that point,
Hmm.
and also kind of discuss with other jurisdictions what if others have done anything similar to that or
That
other
sounds good.
inputs
Maybe we can
also.
also find someone who'd be willing to share with you their more mature process so that you guys can use that as a model as you guys are trying to develop something. So we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, that'll be great. I know Boston Public Health Commission has been using the DevOps tool in Azure, um, and they have. I mean, in the last CST, I had seen
Hmm.
that they had already set up quite an elaborate process there. I was going to reach out to them for some ideas too, but I mean, if there are other jurisdictions too, then I think it'll be good to have multiple jurisdictions perspective.
All right, I will post that to collaborate. I know we're at time, so hopefully Ravi will get some jurisdictions to share some ideas with you. Thanks
Sounds
to
great.
everybody for the good discussion today. We'll continue to discuss these topics and others, and I will make sure that the recording link goes out in just a little while along with the notes. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you in September.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank you
all.
guys. Bye.
Bye, all. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.